Today, there is nonstop discussion of who is at fault for Hillary Clinton losing. At the end, I will propose the obvious. But first, let's turn to the people that are being blamed. So of course, right afterwards, James Comey was being blamed. I get it, he was part of it. Oh, the country's too sexist, racist. Okay, look, part of that is true. But then they turn to the voters. The voters are at fault. I don't know if you know this, you're supposed to go get their votes, but they don't know it. So they started breaking down all the different groups that cost Hillary Clinton the victory, as if it was their job to assure her a victory. So first up was Latino votes who were not sufficiently loyal. 65% of Latino voters voted for Hillary Clinton, and I see all over the media that was not good enough. They're very angry at the Latino voters. 29% voted for Donald Trump. Look, I'm surprised 29% voted for Donald Trump. Jimmy Dore, one of our other hosts, made a great point about that I'll get back to in a second. But I want to give you context first. Barack Obama had won 67% of the Latino vote, so he had gotten a larger. But John McCain had also gotten a larger portion, too. So it breaks down on how Latinos might have voted for third party, et cetera. But basically, bottom line is Barack Obama got more of the vote than Hillary Clinton did. And so that's where everybody's like, oh my God, unacceptable. In fact, back in 2012, Barack Obama got a whole 71% of the Latino vote, okay? So now why, after 8 years of Barack Obama, were Latino, and with a guy who called Mexicans criminals, rapists, et cetera, I mean, you couldn't have a better dream candidate to run against if you're trying to get Latino voters. Why did only 65% of Latino voters vote for Democratic candidate? Well, let me show you the immigrants deported under the last two administrations. Well, George Bush, he deported a lot of people. That's at the bottom, 2 million. Oof. Guess who broke his record? Barack Obama. He deported a record 2.5 million immigrants from this country. So Jimmy's point was, hey, maybe out of the 29% that voted for Donald Trump, a lot of those guys had family members who were deported by a Democratic president. So you say you're in favor of Latinos, then you go do policies against them, and you spit in their face, and you say that it's raining, and you're surprised to find out that they think it's not raining. I'm not stupid. I know what you're doing. Now, do I think they should have voted for Donald Trump? No. But did the Democrats give them a good option? No. And so, are they responsible for that? Of course the Democrats are responsible for that, not the voters. But really, in the media, they really don't get that. So how about the African-American vote? Barack Obama got 93% of the African-American vote in 2012. That's not surprising. Hillary Clinton, again, a big number, 88%, but less than Obama. Now, a lot of people would say there, hey, you know what, that's, of course, because Barack Obama is African-American. And that's a fair point, and that it does have something to do with it, of course, right? At the same time, Hillary Clinton decided not to reach out to African Americans as much. She did during the primaries when she needed them, but she took them for granted during the general election. And so, and in fact, later I'll show you videos of how she treated some of progressive African Americans. So we'll come back to that. Female vote. Now this is where she was supposed to win big. I kept hearing from the compliant press throughout, like, oh, Hillary's got the female vote. I kept saying, yeah, okay, I get it. How about the male vote? He has the male vote in bigger numbers. Oh, don't talk about that. Let's talk about positive Hillary stories. Oh, young Turks, you're not doing positive enough Hillary stories, because if we keep, blowing sunshine up her thing, then she'll win. Oh, really? Is that how it turned out? No, it didn't turn out that way, did it? So she got 54% of the female vote to Trump's 42. Not that impressive a showing. And especially Obama got 55% of the vote. Obama got more female voters than Hillary Clinton did, and she was supposed to have a big advantage. And she was running against a guy who bragged about how he moves on women like a bitch, okay? And she couldn't even get past Obama. Okay, millennial voters. She got 55%. Donald Trump got 37%. But that's not the big issue. So yeah, she beat him. She should have beat him by much larger. How do you think Bernie Sanders would have done in that category? Oh, he would have beat him silly. By the way, could that have made a difference in the razor-thin margins in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan? Oops. Okay, but that's not even the big story on millennials. In 2016, voter turnout among millennials was just 19%. You know what it was in 2008? 51%. It plummeted. Now, the Democrats see that and go, and the media helps them. Go, oh, yeah, you see that? It's the millennials' fault. It's the Latinos. They didn't deliver. It's the blacks a little bit. It's the women a little bit. And no, the millennials. It's not their job. It's your job. You're running for president, not them. Oh, you should. I mean, look at the entitlement. This is Democratic entitlement, right? I'm entitled to your vote. How dare you not get excited by me? Well, but I know that you've got nothing but corporate donors, and I know that you're going to deliver for them. I know you put Ken Salazar as the person in charge of your transition team, and he's a well-known corporatist who can't wait to give away all the goodies to his corporate donor friends. I know all that. How dare you know it? You're not supposed to know things like that. Put the TV on. Turn off the internet. Put the TV on. Come on, be mindless. How dare you not be excited by me? What did you give us to get excited about? So, it wasn't that people secretly liked Donald Trump. He actually got less votes than Mitt Romney. Did you know that? Trump got less votes than Mitt Romney. Do you want to see how many less votes Hillary Clinton got than Barack Obama? 65,915,000 back in 2012 for Obama. 60,122,000 for Hillary Clinton this time. That is over 5 million votes, nearly 6 million votes that sat at home because they were not excited. That's not their fault. You want me to show you whose fault it is? Here, go ahead, show them. Oh, yeah, the frickin' candidate, the one who was running, the one whose job was to get your vote. But she didn't do it. You want to know who else is responsible? The geniuses at the DNC who thought, oh, no. Oh, please, Bernie. You're popular with millennials and independents. Oh, and you're doing much better in the polling than Hillary Clinton. But we know better. We know you wouldn't do as well in a general election because we don't like you. We like Hillary Clinton, so if we like her, the whole country must like her. And, of course, the Democratic Party overall. Now, did the whole country like her? Oh, I don't think so. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you what the country actually thought of her in a second, other than the obvious numbers in the election. But let me show you why. Their dismissive attitude. So during the primaries, this is at the late juncture in the primaries, Hillary Clinton does have a lead. She's very likely to win at this point. She's doing a town hall with Rachel Maddow. But instead of reaching out to the other side, who she's going to need in a general election, here's what she said about Bernie Sanders and his supporters at the time. Watch.
He says that he thinks that they'll support you if basically you adopt some of his platform on the issues that are most important to him.
Well, Rachel, let's look where we are right now. I've got 10.4 million votes. I have 2.7 million more votes, real people showing up to cast their vote, to express their opinion, than Senator Sanders. I have a bigger lead in pledged delegates than Senator Obama, when I ran against him in 2008, ever had over me. I am winning, and I'm winning because of what I stand for and what I've done and what my ideas are.
How'd that turn out for you? So she thought, I don't need those Bernie Sanders supporters. I don't need to go online. I don't need to talk to millennials. I don't need to do anything. I'm winning. I'm winning. The hubris, the overconfidence. And then when you lose, to blame your own voters. Okay, and she wasn't alone. It was the whole establishment. Here's David Axelrod.
But I think Hillary's fundamental approach reflects the mainstream of the Democratic Party. I think people will have a fling with Bernie. Bernie's like a great fun date because you know he's not going to be around town too long, and I think you're going to see people. You're going to see people flirt with that.
Oh, these little kids who like Bernie Sanders, go ahead and have your fling. No, the adults are with Hillary Clinton. We know better. She's winning. How about minorities? How about women? How about young people? Well, they were all encapsulated in a couple of videos. I can show you dozens of these. But one of them showed up at a fundraiser. She actually paid her way to get into a fundraiser. You're going to see it's a really nice house. And Hillary Clinton's talking to her colleagues, the donors. And this young African-American woman interrupts to show a quote from Hillary Clinton during the criminal justice bill when she said she's going to bring that super predators should be brought to heel. Now look at how dismissively they escort her from the building. Watch.
Ensure that South Carolina became the first state with body cameras. There's more work to be done, but got to lay down these markers. You got to build toward common sense gun reform, criminal justice reform, and all the like. So I think we've got a very, I think we've got somebody saying here, we have to bring them
apologize for mass
to
incarceration.
heel. Okay, we'll talk
I'm
about it.
not a super predator, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, fine, we'll talk
You
about it.
apologize to black people for mass incarceration?
Well, can I talk, and then maybe you can listen to what I say? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. There's a lot of issues in this campaign. The very first speech that I gave back in April was about criminal justice reform
You called black
and
people
about
super predators.
You're being rude.
That's
not appropriate.
Super predators. That's rude.
This is not appropriate.
That's rude.
Yeah, you want to hear the facts, you just want to talk.
I know that you called black youth super predators in 1994. Please explain the record. Explain it to us. You owe black people an apology.
Well,
Excuse us. That's
tell you what,
inappropriate.
if you will give me a chance to talk, I'll approach your side. You know what? Nobody's ever asked me before. You're the first person to ask me, and I'm happy to address it, but you are the first person to ask me here. Okay, back to the issues.
Back to business as usual. Not appropriate, not appropriate. It just, look, it's a difficult situation. I understand that. Barack Obama actually does a great job of dealing with this. He'll always say, hey, let me hear her out, let me address her. Hillary's like, oh, I'll get to you later. Okay. Oh, she's still here. Will someone please escort her from the building? Now back to our regularly scheduled issues for you donor class. Gee, I wonder why people thought you were elitist, why you were dismissive, why they didn't relate to you, why they didn't get excited by you and come out to vote for you. I can't quite tell. And it wasn't the only time. I'm going to show you one more quick example to give you a sense of how she dealt with folks. So here's another young African-American woman who brings up an issue that she doesn't agree with Hillary Clinton on. Here's how that goes.
We're very proud to have met with the Somali American community. We have a lot of support in the Somali American community. A lot of people, including, the young councilman who's You know what, dear? You have a different opinion. He is a Somali American elected to the city council. I'm really proud of that. Well, then why don't you go run for something then?
I'm working for a Somali American.
Well, good. Good luck to you.
Turns out you could have used some of that good luck. Look, these were not bad people. These were not Trump guys. These were not your deplorables, okay? These were supposed to be people that were on your side. But you did this to them. You did this to them. And then when they did this back to you, you shouldn't be surprised. So she did not excite her base. Now, the independents, what happened with them? Jonathan Cohen actually had a great article in Huffington Post after the election. And I had, done all this. I'd explained to you guys over and over again that the people do not like the establishment, right? They didn't like Hillary Clinton, but the Democrats didn't want to hear it at all. Now, afterwards, I read this article. I was like, oh my God, there it is. I got to put this in the story. So he goes to Macomb County in Michigan. So Michigan turned out to be incredibly important in this election. This is the county that was made famous by the Reagan Democrats that switched over to voting for Republican Reagan. So he goes there and tries to find out how people feel. So a lot of them have mixed feelings about Donald Trump, not a lot of love. Okay, some like him, some don't. And I'm going to show you why. But here's what they said about their reaction to Hillary Clinton. Quote, but they all hated Hillary Clinton. They used that very word, hate. Now, we warned you that people don't like her, and you thought we were being mean. We weren't being mean. We were trying to warn you, watch out. You're going to let Trump win. You're going to let Trump win. Okay. Here's Dennis White. He said, I hate her lying, all the lies. This is super important, guys. People misinterpret this to mean her lying on positions. Yeah, that's part of it, right? But it's her whole demeanor. It's so fake. What they see in her demeanor and her scripted looks and her consultants telling her what to wear and how to look and had the fake laughs. Like when someone is insulting you, it's okay. Look, you can fight back against Republicans, but don't hit your own base. But the consultants told her, this is how you appeal to independents who are largely Republican, and you do this, and this is what you say in the debates, and this is how you read from a teleprompter. Everything about her seemed to be a lie. We didn't tell you that because we disliked her. We told you as a warning, but you didn't listen to the warning. How about Dennis White? They asked the same guy about Trump, right? He says, they asked him about his controversial statements. He's like, yeah, that's true. But, quote, it shows he's not just trying to get elected. So when he made those crazy statements, you know what people got from that? Authenticity. They're like, yeah, that guy might be crazy, but he's real crazy, right? At least no political consultant told him to attack the family members of a deceased soldier. Nobody told him to do that. Nobody told him to call Miss Universe contestant Miss Piggy. Now, Trump is a con artist, right? And he's going to give all the money to all his donors too. But when he was tweeting and he was saying crazy things, at least people felt like, oh my God, that's a real person. I haven't seen a politician be a real person in a long time. They look over to Hillary Clinton. Back to her. Ken Lisecki says, I'd rather shove a wet noodle up a bobcat's ass than listen to another one of her speeches. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't that he thought that the speech was riddled with inaccuracies. He thought, reading from the prompter, another fake speech. Barbara Woolsey really had problems with Donald Trump, voted for him anyway because, quote, I just don't think she's honest. So who lost this election? Are you kidding me? Of course, the person running. Isn't it amazing that we have to do stories like this, clarifying the most obvious thing in the world? Of course Hillary Clinton lost the election. Of course it's her fault. Of course the Democratic Party lost. Of course the establishment lost. Of course it's their fault. It's not the voters' fault. It's your fault, Hillary Clinton, DNC, Democratic Party. So don't try to blame anyone else. For once, for God's sake, take some responsibility and maybe learn something. You power the Young Turks. We do this all through membership. tytnetwork.com/join. Let's build the media that we can believe in.